And welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here for this Saturday, December 8th edition of our show. We are broadcasting not only over the radio, but we now have a YouTube channel, Take Action News TV. You can find us right there, and we're so pleased to be talking right now with our own editor-in-chief of Take Action News, Charlie Mitchell. Charlie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, David.
So, Charlie, everybody who's looking at us on YouTube now can see the face that goes with this amazing baritone. And I got to say, Charlie, you're a handsome man.
Thanks. Face for radio, right?
No, you look great. Look great. Everybody who wants to put the face with this amazing voice and smart guy who's always on air, you can catch us on YouTube, Take Action News TV. So, Charlie, to set up the segment of what Democrats are doing to try to speed things along in the U.S. Senate, I want to play a clip. Here's Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, the Democratic leader, talking about filibuster reform. Here's Harry Reid.
I think that the rules have been abused, and that we're going to work to change them. We're not going to do away with the filibuster, but we're going to make the Senate a more meaningful place. We're going to make it so that we can get things done.
So, Charlie, exactly what is the filibuster, and what is Harry Reid up to?
The filibuster is basically the ability of the minority party in the Senate to stop action on legislation or nominees by preventing anything from moving forward that doesn't have 60 votes. There's been a couple of reforms over the past century to limit this, but essentially what it comes down to is if you don't have 60 votes, you can't move anything, and that forces a lot of bills off the floor. It means that a lot of bills don't get any consideration, and it stops a number of things dead in their tracks. So this has been something that aggravates whichever party is in the majority at a given time. The Republicans railed about it when they were in the majority, and Democrats were blocking President Bush's judicial nominees. And Harry Reid and the Senate Democrats have been railing about Republican efforts to block virtually all of their agenda. And they say, hey, we're the majority, and we have a right to get consideration of our bills. So we now see Harry Reid is promising that he is going to bring to the floor a rules change when the Senate convenes early next year, and that will say that I believe it isn't final yet, but it looks like it will limit the opportunities to filibuster a bill. It'll take away the opportunity for the minority to filibuster what they call the motion to proceed to a bill. So right now, if you're in the minority but you have 40 votes, 41 votes, you can stop a bill before it's ever even considered. And the thing of it, David, is that it's not like in the movies. You don't have to stand in the well of the Senate and argue why this shouldn't move forward. Basically, a senator will phone it in and say, I object to this, and so the bill is stopped dead. So they're going to take away one step where you can filibuster legislation, and then they're going to say you can still filibuster, but you have to come to the floor. You have to be Jimmy Stewart and stand on the floor of the Senate and make your case of why this bill shouldn't go forward. And this has, of course, provoked howls of protest from the Republican side.
We're talking with Charlie Mitchell, editor-in-chief of Take Action News. Charlie, this effort to try to streamline things so that the Senate can take more action, I believe it's something like, 30 years ago the filibuster was used maybe 3 or 4 times a session. Now it's upwards of 200. What are the odds that Harry Reid is able to get this legislation through? Are there any major obstacles that will be standing in his way?
The obstacles are probably all on his own side and on his calculation of what the ramifications of this are going to be. What he's proposing to do is to change the rule on a simple majority vote. Now, the precedent in the Senate, and this too has evolved over time, has been that rules changes can be made, but they need 67 votes. It needs a supermajority to pass. And that has been based on the idea that the Senate is, quote-unquote, a collegial institution and all of that, which is an idea that is very outdated. It's about as collegial as a bar fight these days. So, the idea that you could change the rules with 67 votes is really a non-starter because you can't get there. But if Reid goes forward with this, the Republicans are vowing that they will filibuster everything and that they will be united in opposing everything and that they will try to stop the Senate in its tracks, which with the way the Senate is creeping forward, that's not a big change either. But they are saying that there will be really serious repercussions if this goes forward. So now you also have a number of outside groups and entities that are starting to pay attention to this. There were editorials over the past week in USA Today, for example, and in the Washington Post, where both of those papers said, we sympathize with the goal of unlocking the Senate and allowing the legislative process to work, but please go back and try to negotiate again. Try to come up with something. Don't blow up the whole process. There are a lot of observers who are very, very nervous that this will just create a pitched war between the two parties and absolutely nothing will get accomplished.
Charlie Mitchell, editor-in-chief of Take Action News, we're talking with here on this Saturday. Charlie, and speaking of pitched war, where do things stand in terms of the effort to try to come up with some deal to extend the Bush tax cuts for 98% of Americans and let them go up on the 2%, the wealthiest who make $200,000 or more?
Well, we had trades of proposals from the President and Speaker Boehner over the past week, and the President and Boehner spoke on the phone Wednesday night, I believe, but things are basically nowhere, and the sharp dividing line is that the President is insisting that the top rate goes back up. It maybe not all the way to where it was under the Clinton administration, but that the top rate that the highest earners pay be raised, and Republicans have said no way on that. Obama says, if there's one issue on which I got a mandate from this election, it was on this, because I very explicitly called for this. Republicans have been categorically opposed to any rate increase. The problem for the Republicans is that under current law, everybody's rates are going to go up on January 1st if there isn't a deal. So, the thing that they're grappling with internally within the Republican conference is, do we accept something? Do we allow rates to go up on 2% of people and save every 98% of people or whatever? Or do we stick to our position and say no rate increase, which in fact will mean a rate increase for everybody? So it's a sticky situation for them. Everybody's trying to figure out the politics of it. And meanwhile, the clock is really ticking very quickly, and something needs to happen soon. Republicans have said something needs to happen, this within days or minutes or hours. We probably have a little bit more time than that, but it's coming down to the end, and what we're looking to see is if there can be some kind of compromise that bridges it over into the new year and takes away this looming January 1st deadline for action. But I would say under almost any circumstances, it appears that the tax rate on the upper 2% of earners is going to go up on January 1. It's hard to see. That'll either happen automatically or it will happen as part of a negotiated deal.
Charlie Mitchell, editor-in-chief of Take Action News. Charlie, great stuff as always, and thanks so much for being part of the program. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, David.
Charlie Mitchell. And by the way, folks, you hear his great voice, his great analysis on the radio. You can always catch him on the podcast on iTunes, but you can also now, you can see Charlie Mitchell. You can see what this great man looks like. Check out our YouTube channel, Take Action News TV, and you can see him right there. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to talk about some of the foreign policy. Actually, if anybody's watching on YouTube, you're seeing that my chair is somehow sliding down because I'm I'm slipping out of frame. What's going on here? For anybody who wants to who thinks that, it's just the domestic policy, it's just the Bush tax cuts that's weighing on President Obama, think again. There's some really great incredible foreign policy challenges that are on the Obama administration's plate. We're going to talk about that and what possibly the Obama administration could do if the government of Syria uses chemical weapons on its own people. Could it happen? That news broke this week. We'll talk about it next when Take Action News continues.